Hello again, happy Halloween. This is part 2 of my Halloween movie horror marathon. I've just finished my second film. It's part of the Amicus collection. Is that a cool cover or what? I would love to have that as a poster or a framed photo for the wall. Great. Peter Cushing. Anyhow, before I start on that, I forgot to mention, the first film I watched is Skull, the disc that I watched. It's bare bones. Just comes with a single disc, and the only extra is a trailer, but it's a good enough copy because my previous copy was what turned out to be a bootleg I got off of eBay. Didn't even have the trailer, so this was a step up. The film I just finished watching is the first film, I hate the glare, first film in the Amicus pack, Asylum, also known as House of Crazies. And this film is from 1972. It's also obviously an Amicus film. The Skull was a standalone. This is the first of 3 that comes in the Amicus pack. The movie was made 1972. It's 89 minutes long. It's an anthology film. Amicus had already, by this film, made several earlier anthology films. They had made Dr. Terror's House of Horror in '65. They made Torture Garden in '67, and they had finished The House That Dripped Blood in 1970. This one was 72. After this, they went on to make several more anthology films that you might have seen. Tales from the Crypt, 72 also, same year as Asylum. Vault of Horror was 73, and From Beyond the Grave was 1974. This film also, as in the Skull, has a performance by Peter Cushing, a small part. Actually has a cast of actors you'd probably recognize. The movie, like I said, is an anthology. One of the best parts about it is the wraparound story. The movie consists of 4 individual stories in the wraparound. It starts with a young doctor arriving at an asylum for a job interview. And I love the name Dunsmore Asylum for the Dunsmore Asylum for the permanently insane. He shows up expecting an appointment with a Dr. Starr, but he's met with by Patrick McGee playing Dr. Rutherford, who explains that Dr. Starr has had a mental breakdown and is housed upstairs, locked up with the rest of the patients. To get the job, Dr. Roberts is supposed to go upstairs, interview the patients, and pick out which one is the former head of the institution, of the asylum. So it's a clever wraparound story. He's sent upstairs. The orderly Max takes him from room to room, and each patient tells their story, which is the basis of the movie. First story is Frozen Fear. So basically, they all have a supernatural element, but the first 3 could probably be explained away as the patients are nuts. The first one, Frozen Fear, is a murder plot. A man and his mistress plotting the gruesome demise of his wife, although it's not gory. I'm not going to tell too much of the stories because you really have to. For an 89-minute film, the pacing seems very slow by today's standard, but it's also very interesting for this type of film. The acting's all there, the character development, and so you basically enjoy these films for the performance and for the suspense and see where it's going to go. So the first film is interviewing a woman in the asylum, telling the story about her participation in the murder of her lover's wife. The second story is called The Weird Tailor, and this is the one that features Peter Cushing in a supporting role. And the basic storyline is that the tailor, who is the patient in the asylum, or maybe Dr. Starr, because we're not sure, tells us his story, and it involves the fact that he was about to lose his shop because he couldn't pay the rent. And Peter Cushing, as a customer, just Smith, shows up with material, apparently very prosperous, offers him £200 to make a suit to very specific specifications. It has to be sewn in a certain way during certain hours of the night. He doesn't really explain anything except he says it has to do with astrology. He says it's for his son. He gives him very specific measurements and says he needs it at a specific time. The tailor makes it, but when he goes to deliver it and collect his money so that he can pay his rent, well, there goes the twist again. The third story is Lucy Comes to Stay, and this one features Charlotte Rampling, very young Charlotte Rampling, as a patient, and she tells a story about her homecoming after apparently an extended previous stay in a mental institution, and what goes wrong with that homecoming. All three of these stories could be explained away without any supernatural elements. The fourth story features Herbert Lom, from probably best known from Inspector Clouseau, Pink Panther movies. He's Clouseau's boss. He's also found the opera and Hammer Studios film. He's done a lot of stuff. And he professes to be a doctor, Dr. Byron, and he explains how he is creating these dolls, these figures that he thinks he can project his soul into, and he says they're anatomically correct in the inside, brain, internal organs, everything, that he'll put his consciousness into them and control them. And there's not really a story to that one, because the young Dr. Roberts then asks the orderly Max to take him back downstairs, or let him back downstairs to finish the interview. And he's irate by the way the patients are locked away by themselves and being treated. There's an interchange, then there's a twist, and I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm going to say the last 10 minutes is worth watching. So, I mean, the whole film's worth watching, but the last 10 minutes really justifies watching the whole film and pays off in a good way. Some interesting tidbits is Herbert Lom was only scheduled for 1 day to film his part, and he actually did it in half a day. Peter Cushing filmed his part in 2 days, so they're not extensive roles. Spike Milligan, a British comedian, was supposed to play Max the Orderly, but backed out at the 11th hour. The original cinematographer, unfortunately, was diagnosed with terminal disease, so he was replaced. So there's a lot of people coming and going, a lot of people just working small part on this film, but it all comes together in a really good way. I love the original title, House of Crazies, but Asylum's a good name, and it's a film worth checking out, and if I were you, I'd do so. So, happy Halloween. Oh, I suppose I'll show you the, this is the disc. Ooh, there it is. That's a cool cover. Inside is a booklet. It's not very long, it's just a few pages. And a catalog from the distributor, Darksky Films. Single disc, but it has a lot more features than the standalone film. This one has a commentary by the director, Roy Ward Baker. This film was, it also has a featurette inside the Fear Factory, which I haven't watched yet, but I'm assuming is about Amicus. Has cast and crew biographies, theatrical trailers, stills gallery, and liner notes, which you saw. And all in all, it's a great package. This is what I used to have. Another one that turned out to be a bootleg when I bought it off of eBay. Has nothing, not even a trailer. This film also, like The Skull, was written by Robert Bloch, based on his own stories. Well worth checking out if you like slower pace but involving stories, old style horror stories. So hope you enjoyed. I'm moving on to the next film in the Amicus pack. Hope you're enjoying your Halloween. Talk to you later. Bye bye.